Good afternoon and welcome to the special call board meeting of the Desoto County Board of Education. We'll please stand for the pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
See everybody today. Mr. Usleton, you need to approve the agenda. What is your recommendation?
Mr. Chairman, I recommend the board to approve the agenda.
Hearing that recommendation, do I have a motion? Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, that motion passes. Budget hearing.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Okay, to our distinguished board members, Mr. Key and Mr. Usleton, I present to you the proposed budget for year 25-26. I have been working in BBS all week long, and I have used the word excited probably too many times. But I can tell you, without a doubt, when I was getting ready for this presentation, that's the only word that kept coming to mind. I am truly excited about presenting this. And I can tell you without a doubt that this is a true compilation and representation from all the budget meetings that we've had with every single department, and even had the privilege of meeting with our principals this year as well. So I'm going to present this to you now. Of course, our budget adoption will hopefully occur on June the 19th, 2025 at 10 o'clock. I thought this was so appropriate. Many years ago, I had someone tell me that you follow somebody's checkbook or you follow their spending, you'll see really quickly what their values are and what they hold dear. So the budget is not just a collection of numbers, but an expression of our values and aspirations. I hope you see by the end of this budget presentation what we hold dear for DeSoto County Schools, and that's truly providing a top-notch education for our students. Of course, Dave Ramsey, a budget isn't about restricting what you can spend, but it gives you permission to spend without guilt or regret, and that's what I want our departments to feel. Not regretful because we've set the budget. School millage. For years, we have touted no millage increase. Well, this year, we're reducing the millage. So based on our new assessed evaluations and the value of a meal, we are looking at reducing the meals by 6.18 meals. Now, this is tentative. This could change. We will get more numbers, more real numbers, actually, the first week in July. And of course, we have until August the 15th to give them our board order. So I do feel like this could go up a meal or it could go down by a meal. It just depends on what they come back with. But for this proposed budget, everything is based on that reduction of 6.18 meals. Total budget revenue for FY 2026 is $445,224,646. This is actually an increase of a little over 18 million from FY 25. Of course, our revenues are made up of three categories. Our local, which is a little over 171 million, which is 38.5%. Our state, 233 million, a little over 52.5%. And then our federal, which is 9%, a little over 39 million. I think this is probably a better picture of how our revenues stack up against each other instead of stating the numbers. I think we all look at visual and we learn even more so. Okay, our local revenues of that local revenue, our ad valorem, the 171 million that I just talked about, of that ad valorem makes up 81% of that. So operations is 128,988,952. And of course, this is based on the last estimates that we had by the county administration. The other 19% is composed of donations and contributions, revenue in lieu of taxes, interest income, student activities and fees, and of course our child nutrition, which is breakfast and lunch, which is the non-federal portion. The state revenues that we talked about, which was a little over 233 million, of that, the state funding, the Mississippi Student Funding Formula makes up 95% of that. This year, we're slated to receive a little over 1.5 million in addition from last year or over last year. Now, this amount is also tentative. I know it was sitting on the governor's desk. Mr. Elselton may know if he has signed it, but the last word I got, he had not signed it yet, but we are waiting to hear when he will and also receive what we're supposed to receive. So this, I do not feel like this will fluctuate much. They also put in a caveat there in the funding formula about the local contribution. So what that means is that $5 million, they actually reduce our funding by $5 million and they expect our local ad valorem to pick that up. But regardless, DCS is still reducing the millage rate by 6.18 mils. The other major state sources, which makes up 5%, would be your homestead exemption, our Chickasaw funds, educational enhancement, which is actually pledged to debt, and then our master teacher. Our federal revenues, which was that $39 million figure that we talked about, which is only 9% of our budget, is composed of Title I, II, III, and IV, our special education, and our preschool special education, our school food service, which is child nutrition, and of course our ROTC programs, which we have at Horn Lake High School, like Conrad High and Olive Branch. Our total budgeted expenditures for FY 26 is $502,988,496. I've got notes everywhere. This is actually a $22 million increase over last year. This is the analysis of the expenditures. The increase is $35 million in general, which is your district maintenance, your student activity funds, and your donations and contributions. Special revenue actually went down by $6 million, but that was because of the ESSER funds finally being spent, all of it, finally being complete. Capital projects also went down by $11 million, and that was because of the funding that we used to build a new high school that was depleted as well. And of course, our debt service went up to $5 billion. Now, these are the changes that occurred in the expenditures. These are really one-time purchases. So 25 million of that are school level special projects. That's when we had the privilege of sitting with our principals and sitting with our plant maintenance staff to see really what they thought they needed to do on their campuses. And this is their vision. It was over a 3-year period and what they could do in each year. So this is what is slated for those special projects. Not sure we can get them all done in 1 year. That's the reason we kind of spread it out over a 3-year period. This is also 1.3 million an E-rate project. This is composed of our rewiring projects, and this is the money that we can recoup. This is brand new, the 5 million in future device investments. These are our student netbooks. We have been, in the past, we've been able to pay for these out of the ESSER funding. Of course, that is gone. So we decided to put aside a little over $5 million every year so we could do a device refresh. Because of course, you know as well as I do, the useful life is 3 years, and if it's in the hands of a middle school or a high school, that's all you're gonna get. Hopefully, we'll get 3 years. But we want to be able to make the decision to either lease or to purchase, whichever is more efficient. Also, a $15 million transfer to miscellaneous construction because of the ongoing renovations that we have and the future building projects. Other changes are the issuance of a 3 mil note, operations of a new school unit. As you all know, we have a new school unit this year. That's $1 million right off the top. It takes $1 million. Additional educational investments that you'll see later on. Okay, some fun DCS facts. I did Google this just to make sure we are the largest employer in DeSoto County Schools. As of 2 days ago, we still are. Also, of course, you know, we educate over 34,000 plus students. The square feet of our facilities now is over 5 million square feet. It takes a lot to keep our buildings where they need to be, especially our older buildings. Of course, we transport 20 plus students daily. And we schedule the 1,300 plus scheduled routes, and of course, over 3 million miles in a year. Of course, 27,000 plus average daily meals are served by our child nutrition department. When you see that, it's just kind of like, wow, it takes a lot. Of course, our budget drivers are really going to be the same every year. The accreditation standards, the legislative mandates, our ESSA regulations, which are federally driven, our special education, which are our IEP plans, of course, facility and safety needs as well. And of course, we know safety is number one. Our transportation needs, it takes a lot for those buses and a lot to fuel them. Of course, major factors are teacher-pupil ratio, required support staff, of course, our state salary schedule, the step up in experience, our classroom needs, and our federal funds reduction. Now that is new. We are not sure what's going to happen with this. We know with the current administration what they would like to do, but we really have no idea. Our state has not received allocations as of yet either. So we have built-in contingencies, just so you'll know, just in case something does happen. We have several different expenditure categories. Our support services, you're looking at them. Your counselors, your nurses, people here, we're all considered support services. Your instruction is what's directly related to your classroom. All the expenditures related to that, your salaries, your benefits, all the equipment it takes to go in there, your netbooks, anything a student works on. Your operations and maintenance are your buildings and the upkeep and the insurance and the utilities. Your operations of non-instructional are actually child nutrition. That's what all it takes to run that program. Our construction are all the renovation projects that we have on to keep our buildings safe and to expand in our new buildings. And transportation department, of course, our debt service. I think this really puts things in perspective. Well, you can look at numbers all day, but when you see a picture like this, you can say it's a little over 3 times more than even the support services amount that we spend in this budget. And of course, of support services, like I said, there's several categories as well. So you've got a pie chart. The yellow is the actual students. And that's the actual people that touch those students, your nurses, your psychometrists, your mental health therapists. You've got interventionists, and then you've got instructional staff, which are your librarians. And then you've got school administration, which are actually your school principals, the assistant principals, and their clerks, which makes up 19%. You've got the business little piece of the pie, which is 7%. And that's my department. That's all the bookkeepers, the cash clerks, everybody at the school. Now, these are the educational investments that we've added also in addition to this budget this year. Of course, the $1,000 teacher pay raise that you have already approved. The PERS increase, which is actually 0.5%, and that's over $1 million itself. So the athletic student activity supplement increase, everyone will get as well. The athletic student activity school budget increase, they have one, and we're going to increase that as well so they can buy things for their program. And of course, additional teacher units we have that every year. I think we netted out at about 7 this year, 7 new additional. Of course, that's moving people around. And of course, it could be more when we start school. But in addition to those, we've got an additional work-based teacher unit, an additional Project Connect teacher and assistant, additional dyslexia teachers. Of course, this is the biggie, the adoption, the math adoption was big this year. All of those totaled up to a little over 12 million. Of course, our student support investments as well are additional ready-to-learn coaches, additional academic specialists, additional therapeutic social worker, our 504 plan case managers, additional nurses, additional occupational therapists, and additional therapeutic interventionists. The additional nurses, just the populations at our largest high schools, we felt like just to be safe, we needed additional one. I thought this was so appropriate for this budget. An investment in knowledge pays the best interest by Benjamin Franklin. This is the return on our investment. Hopefully we'll see it at the end of next year as well. But we had 30 National Merit semifinalists, which is actually an increase by 6 over last year. And then our 30 Plus Club for the seniors that took the ACT, that was an increase of over 50. That's incredible. And of course, the scholarship offers, they're always in the millions. We had 26 seniors who earned the gold and silver by literacy seal. Our dual credit courses continue to increase, and that says a lot about our school system as well. We're now at 4,758. And then I got with Miss Beth Turner, and she sent in this for the Career and Technical National Certifications. Over 490 were earned for 24-25. That is incredible. And that is in all of those categories: advanced manufacturing, welding, construction, culinary, early childhood education, information technology, and automotive. So the district maintenance fund balance, to comply with GASB's 54, we have to set aside an amount of no less than 25% of the revenues, and that is our board policy, DGA. So the budgeted fund balance in district maintenance for FY26 is $134,851,029. We have to set aside 25% of that, which is required, which is $94 million. So we are in excess of that by $40,223,871. So I have to say, I was so excited to get to this point when I was compiling the budget, because I know how important this is to Mr. Usleton. And he's going to ask me, when I meet with him, where do we stand? Where did it fall out? Because you have to understand, all these budget meetings are going on, and it's a constant compilation, constant. So I was so excited when I got to this point, and it's the same as last year. We didn't go down at all. So we remained steadfast. 71% of all operating expenditures are directly related to instruction. 79% of all general fund salaries and benefits are expended in the classroom. That is the end of the actual budget presentation, but I've got slides to follow, and I feel like this is why we do what we do. So please enjoy.
Another turning point, a fork stuck in the road. Time grabs you by the wrist, directs you where to go. So make the best of this test and don't ask why. It's not a question, but a lesson learned in time. It's something unpredictable, but in the end it's right. I hope you had the time of your life. friends and you're mine. Hanging on a shelf in good health and good time. Tattoos of memories and dead skin on trial. For what it's worth, it was worth all the while. It's something unpredictable, but in the end it's right. I helped you at the time of your life. It's something unpredictable, but in the end that's right. I helped you at the time of your life.
Can I thank my staff? This could not be done at all without the help of my wonderful department. Everybody had a function. And of course, every department that I met with, and of course, Mr. Usleton, who I met with a lot during the budget season and appreciated so much of his guidance. But I just wanted to thank them publicly.
Thank you.
I can echo what Ms. Hadley was saying there and thank our business department for all their hard work. This is definitely a team effort and it is a long process between our business officials and then also our directors from each of the departments and just everybody coming together to make sure that we have the best budget possible. And just seeing the success and all the things that went on this past school year, it was a great school year. And at the same time, this is a critical process to get ready for the upcoming school year. And I mean, we start this when we get back from Christmas and we're just looking. I'm on, you did say millage was going down, is that correct? All right, that's good. So I appreciate you asking that question. It is going down. So go on record to say there's over 6 mills, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
That's great. Awesome. Very conservative budget. And, you know, with that being said, you said that could fluctuate between now and the middle of August, I believe.
Yes,
Is that correct? Great. All right. And another thing too, I do want to add is that those meetings between our principals and our maintenance team and Ms. Hadley went really well. Got a lot of positive feedback from principals on that because they like to be able to give feedback. That's the reason there's so much money budgeted to that because they have projects they want to get done on campus. Also, you had the $1,000 teacher pay raise in there. We have over $23 million go straight to that local supplement. And so now all of our teachers will have a supplement of at least $7,700 a year. And then we have over $4.2 million going towards school resource officers. We'll have a nurse in every school again. And as Ms. Hadley said, we're even adding some nurses in those large high schools. We're having our three largest high schools have 2 nurses. And so all that being said, I asked Ms. Hadley the other day how she felt about the budget, and she said she felt great about the budget, and we trust Ms. Hadley with that, and we're looking forward to the upcoming school year.
I will say on behalf of the board, thank each and every one of you for assisting and whatever role you play. We do thank you for that. We have a great team, and we are always very thankful for that. So, thank you. With that said, I'm moving to the superintendent's report.
It's my fault. I already said my superintendent's report. I just kind of just started talking about what I was going to say. So, once again, thank you to all of our people who are here.
So we're done with the
There you
superintendent's
go.
report.
Yeah, that was a question.
Yeah, that's very easy. With that being said, that concludes the hearing. I need a motion to adjourn.
I make that motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, that passes, and we'll be adjourned until 3 o'clock, 4 minutes. Thank y'all.
Great job, everybody.
Yeah.
Thank y'all.
Thank y'all.
We're running them all.